People's Party of Canada leader. That would be none other than Maxime Bernier, one of the few leaders to speak out about what's going on at Oakville Trafalgar High School and the reaction or the non-reaction of the Halton District School Board. Ms. Bernier, the first question is, there are more questions than answers regarding this teacher, Mr. Lemieux. We have been told that this might be someone who is pranking the school board. He's speaking out against wokeism by adopting this costume. We've been told by others that he might be a mentally ill individual. Regardless, does this not look bad on the Halton District School Board if they're going to bat for someone who is not transitioning from male to female but is a prankster or suffering from mental illness, in which case he deserves to be helped?
Absolutely, and it's a shame on them. You know, we are here today, good weather, bad weather, to fight for what we believe. But I understand that that person may not be well. So, and it's a little bit crazy that they will support that person. I don't know if he's a real trans or not, or what he's doing, but only the message that the school board is sending to Canadians, saying, you know, we must accept that when they have a dress code for students, and they don't want to have something like that for students, but if you're a teacher, it's okay. There's no common sense, there's no logic there, and that's why I believe that they're doing that, they're acting like that, the board, because they're scared to be sued by somebody because of the changes that the Ontario government did at the Human Rights Code here in Ontario to not have any discrimination for gender fluidities. So now it's why actually right now that they're a little bit scared. But I'm telling them, don't be scared, fight for the real, because that legislation is, for me, unconstitutional and unethical, and that must change. We have the same problem at the federal level with Bill C-16. So all that started there. So I believe that parents are fed up with that, like me, and I'm concerned that other establishment elected politicians are not here to fight for Canadians, but I'm not surprised.
And you know, Mr. Bernier, it seems to be that there's an undercurrent of misogyny taking place here. This man is pretending to be a grotesque caricature of a female. We have biological males competing against biological females in sport and wiping the floor clean. Even in Justin Trudeau's Canada, a convicted federal penitentiary prisoner, a male, can just simply say, I'm a woman. He gets to reside in a female penitentiary and carry out, well, basically abuse and sexual misappropriation for the female prisoners. It seems like the world's upside down, and I don't understand why half the population, females, are being, you know, like I said, it's like a level of misogyny taking place.
Absolutely, and it's happening here in Canada in 2022. So we must stop that. You know, the Trudeau government is not promoting people based on their character or their competence. It's no, you are, you know, black or transgender, or you'll have a promotion. Same thing for the Canadian Forces. You know, they're doing promotion based on the DIE ideology. But that ideology must die, you know, diversity, inclusion, and equity. You know, it's not our values as a country. I'm upset that the Trudeau government doesn't have any official opposition in Parliament about that. We are the real opposition outside the Parliament. And just wait, just watch us at the next election. We will be there, and we'll have a common sense, a freedom fighter that will be elected in Parliament, and we will start that revolution in Parliament. Now we are doing that revolution with Canadians, and that's important to do that. But step by step, this party is growing, and I believe that the future is on our side.
Ms. Bernier, if we can talk very briefly about the political process. Next month, October 24th, Ontarians go to the polls for municipal elections. It'll typically be a terrible turnout, especially when it comes to school trustees. People don't care or they don't vote. And yet, look at what happened last November in Virginia. You had, at the school board level, parents packing the buildings. they were speaking out against critical race theory and radical transgenderism and Marxism. In other words, Mama Bear woke up. And at the lowest political elected level, the school board trustee, when it came to November, the Democrat McAuliffe lost to the Republican Youngkin. That was an incredible upset. But I guess what I'm trying to say, Mr. Bernier, is that even at the lowest level of politics, profound change can get into motion.
Absolutely, and we must do the same thing here in Canada. That's why I said we must be active at all levels of government, municipal, school board, provincial, federal. That's why I'm telling you that it's a common sense revolution that we must do. I cannot do that alone, and I'm asking parents, wake up and do your work and vote. Be active. If you stay at home and do nothing, nothing will happen. But I hope that we'll have a critical mass that will go up there and vote and put people in place that are sharing your values and your philosophy and your way of life. That's the opposite that is happening right now. So we must change that. And that's a nice example about what happened in the US. I hope it can happen here also.
Well, you know what? I'm getting very nostalgic, Mr. Bernier, when you say the common sense revolution. I feel like I'm back in 1995 and Mike Harris running for premier. He got 2 majorities, and the world was a lot more sane back then. Yeah. What do you make of the fact that, you know, the majority is against what's happening at Oakville Trafalgar, but we live in a day and age of cancel culture. And when you commit a thought crime as opposed to first-degree murder, there's no parole, there's no second chances, you are canceled forever. I think this is a very worrisome time in which it's not just censorship, but it's self-censorship for economic preservation.
Yeah, that's happening in our country right now, and that's sad because, like I said in my speech, people must stand up and speak out for what they believe. What is the goal? To have the best ideas, and if you keep these ideas for yourself, nothing will happen. Just be active out there, like I said, and speak to your friends and your family, and we will build a momentum. And now, because we have also, like I said, the mainstream media against us, so our growth will be a little bit slower because we don't have the mainstream media. But at least you are here, independent media are here, more people are listening now, and they understand that something is wrong in this country and must change. And I believe, and they have an opportunity here in Ontario next month to vote for common sense, and I hope that a lot of parents will go out there and vote and use the power that they have to go and vote for somebody that will fight for their values.
And Mr. Bernier, when we speak of the mainstream media, this is a fascinating sidebar to this story. This story has gone around the world. From India to the UK, it's being covered. The mainstream media, they are typically, supportive of radical transgenderism, but even they know there's something not quite right here. But instead of investigating this story, they're ignoring this story. I think that makes them cowardly.
Absolutely, absolutely, and they're working with the government on that. The Liberal government on that, they're pro all these die ideology that for me must die, and that will be it. But yeah, they're part of that. They're part of that, and they have a responsibility about what is happening here in our school right now. I blame the board, the school board, but I blame the media, the mainstream media also.
One last question, Mr. Bernier. You and I are of the same age, more or less. You know that on Wednesday, it'll be the 50th anniversary of the Summit Series, Team Canada against the USSR. Yeah. And it's funny that far more than an exhibition series of hockey games, if you look at the narrative back then, it was communism versus capitalism. It was tyranny versus democracy. Even non-hockey fans were watching this. And yet here we are, 50 years later, and I don't know, it's hard to recognize what Canada has become compared to what it was 50 years ago. What is your view on that, sir?
Absolutely. I watched that series, and for me, that was something. And I love hockey. But that being said, I was proud, very proud at that time to be Canadian, to live in a free country. But right now, yes, we are not free anymore. Look what happened to us with the Freedom, with the Emergencies Act, with the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa, and now what's happening in our school. So that's why when I'm using the word revolution, a peaceful revolution, That is what we must do, because our country is not the same one after 50 years. But I'm optimistic we will be able to win that. And I believe that we'll have another discussion maybe in a year, or maybe less than that, or more than a year, and we'll celebrate our new country and our country. Yeah.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. Bernier, from the Burlington Post.
Yeah. Thank you.